Let's now welcome KURŞUN onto the Webit 2014 stage, who is Chief Information Officer of GNA Group, Vice President of the Board of IAB Turkey, and President of IAB Turkey Technical Committee.
Hi, first of all. It's really hard after so nice speakers. I will try my best. Yes. Yes. Actually, I'm here for also with my IAB hat. I'm the Vice President of IAB Turkey, and Turkey is one of the leading internet markets, which is growing actually 30% annually, almost 30%. And first of all, before going into details, I just want to share with you some insights. I don't want to somehow bother you with all the numbers and all this stuff, but I just want to somehow bring you the population breakdown now, and where we can see that actually currently still the 12 to 34 age range is still dominating with 71%, but there is an important figure which we have to notice. And this is the 45 plus, that the 45 plus age range is growing faster than any of the age group, and actually it's growing 2.4 times more than the total population growth. Why it is important? Because somehow we can say that more dollars, more purchasing power is coming to internet. And when we look to mobile, actually the numbers are much more unbelievable. Currently, as you can see, the total population growth is somehow like 83%. And again, now the 45 plus segment is growing with 235%, and which is followed by 35-44 age group, and which is 101%. So after these amazing numbers, I just also want to come to the figures, the business, how it looks, the numbers in terms of revenues actually. As you can see from this graphic, actually, almost the market is growing really with two-digit figures, and which is almost more than double or triple of the total global numbers. And as you can see, the mobile and video ads are consistently outperforming, and with a growth rate of 44% and 24% for mobile, and 105% and 54% for video. To be honest, actually video numbers are great, but it started from almost nowhere, and if you think from that point of view, actually, mobile is also really important. And if you look for the half figures, as you can see, even when you notice the previous numbers, the second half of actually 2012 growth was really tremendous. And here you see the growth numbers, 33% and 96%. And when we come, how we see the figures for 2014, actually the first half might be something like in the range of 20%, which is a little bit not so powerful compared to last year, but as you might somehow know, there are some political issues currently, but we think that the year end will be somehow at 20 to 23%. So these are from Turkey, actually. So after understanding the situation, or if we try to understand the situation in Turkey, now I want to also emphasize the compound annual growth rates for the whole global entertainment and advertising industry. As you look here, the internet advertisings seem to grow at 10.7% annually, which is a really nice number. But if you look to the previous numbers, although the Turkish internet is still in its infant age, it has more than double or more than triple of the total internet growth numbers. And as you see here, as expected, the newspapers, they are somehow losing ground. The TV is still solid, and they are coming with 5%. But if you look to the figures and if you do the math, actually in 2018, these numbers will come to that the digital will reach somehow just 1% in front of TV advertising, which is a really important point of view. And as you see also the video games. And if you look to the actually spend by category numbers, you can see somehow that a tremendous growth is expected in mobile. And it seems that in 2008, the mobile numbers will somehow so close to display numbers. At the same time, it seems that nowadays, or it just surpassed the classified numbers, and the video numbers should be somehow near to the classified numbers. But as you see, the display is still gaining, the search is gaining much more, but there is a big growth potential. Now, just in order to understand the media, or in order to understand the entertainment, okay, the World Wide Web, but I want to somehow classify the WWW as the consumers now what we want, when we want, and where we want. And it is really important because it's somehow changing the whole climate, whole patterns, whole usage patterns, and almost everything. I just try to somehow emphasize about Mr. Bray's tweet. I love it so much, but as you can see, your mobile phone has more computing power than all of NASA in 1969. NASA launched a man to the moon, we launched a bird into space. It's really amazing that the phones and all the stuff that you are having in your hands and the capabilities of these devices are incredible. And we are still in the just edge of some new happenings. And when we look to the entertainment industry now, to another point, when we look to the TVs, TVs are, it's not my word, it's Matt Britton's, I have to confess, and I have to somehow give him courtesy. Matt Britton is the president of Google, but Europe president, and he just identifies the TV as the 2006 mobile phones. I'm not sure whether you remember this BlackBerry Pearls or the other stuff where you try to somehow try to surf but never and ever manage it. But actually, if you look from that perspective, the TV industry is in such a position and the TV manufacturers are in such a position that the devices are there. Almost now the smart TVs are trying to enter the market, but at the end of the day, it should somehow be changed in a tremendous way. Actually, I just saw from the backstage that Mr. Igor's presentation, and there were the Felix Baumgartners actually jumping from space. This is somehow a remarkable moment to identify. Why? Because it changed the media industry and entertainment industry so that from YouTube, 7 million concurrent users were able to watch this actually show online real time. And it is really amazing that if you look for the future actually predictions for TV market, as you know, from the previous slide, the mobiles, okay, they have the computer powers, and now they have also the applications in it. And they have also when you look to the market now, in the very previous, it was so fragmented, but now it is iOS, Android, and the others. Actually, also, it was so nice to see today's other presentations when I come to the next slide. And from that point of view, if you look for the OTT from the entertainment business will grow tremendously. And as you see the numbers, the total electronic home video will reach 20% annual growth rate. And the subscription, actually, video on demand and transactional video on demand will somehow be in the 28% to 30% range. And all these actually bandwidth investments, all these new Google's achievements, they are trying to somehow bring more internet to poverty countries like Africa and all the other stuff, so that there are more 2.5 million more people outside there, so that they will enter to the market. And when we put all these things, and when we put the business figures there, we also have some other problems at the end of the day. From the advertising point of view, there are many issues that to be discussed. The viewability is one of the issues. Currently, we see almost unbelievable number of advertising in the whole content owners. They have unbelievable, almost unlimited inventory. But what if the viewability of the ad space? This should be a much more important discussion point in the coming years to the whole industry. And also, when we look to the GRP, there is also a debate for the online GRP, whether we should somehow invest into iGRP. Is an online GRP that is necessary to make online video advertising much more understandable with the traditional TV guys, or whether we should somehow try to convince them in that way or in another way is also another thing. But if you look to the internet, if you have such efficient metrics to somehow gather almost all the insights, it is, I think it's out of question, but we should somehow. The big data, today everyone is talking about big data, big metrics and big decisions. And actually I saw just behind that, it's really, really important, the madman and the madman. It's really important issue, but what is the importance? Or is it the names? Is the phone numbers? Is that important? Or is the addresses, are the addresses important? Or whether the behaviors are important? When we look to the whole market, and when you look, for example, YouTube is a great example. And if in YouTube you see somehow that you can skip the ads in just 5 seconds. But unfortunately, even today, the biggest providers, biggest content providers, even my company, we are trying to somehow push them. They are trying to push them pre-roll ads, pre-roll video ads. But either just this skipping data is so important that you can somehow identify the user and find out the real way and the most efficient advertising to be shown there. And another important issue that is waiting us is the privacy issues. Because, okay, it's really nice to somehow try to gather the behavior, but are you somehow operating in a industry-specific, or will there be any sanctions because the governments are trying to, for example, the EU is currently regulating heavily on cookies. There are some frameworks, online behavioral advertising, OBA frameworks, which are currently also trying to be put in charge in Turkey, also as OBA Turkey, but there are some issues there. But what I can say from the actually advertising and Turkish internet perspective is big data is really important. You have to understand the markets, and when you look to the changing entertainment views, it is really amazing that when the Android TVs will be also in the market, that as in the case of 85% penetration in mobile, Android will also change the TV market, it seems so. But we try to somehow focus on all the entertainment, and in order to summarize, but unfortunately I'm out of time. Thank you very much for your time.